Hi yogis. So today's tutorial is 8-angle pose. And 8-angle pose is one of my favorite. It was like one of the first fancy, arm balance poses that I learned. So it has a special place in my heart. And it looks a little something like this. Okay, so looks fancy, right? Pretty cool. It's actually pretty accessible. So of course, as like with all arm balances, there is a little bit of a strength component, not gonna lie. There also is a little bit of a flexibility component, although not as much as you might think. So you can do this pose if you don't have flexibility, but if you're not terribly flexible, right? It gets easier. If you can wear your leg like a backpack over your shoulder, that definitely makes this pose easier. But there's a few things that you can do to prep for this pose. So I want to go over it. And one of those things is we're going to talk about strength as well as flexibility. So first thing you're going to do is let's take that right foot. I'm going to put it in the crook of my left elbow, interlace my hands. This is important. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, right? You don't want to be slouching in this pose. So if I'm slouching and rounding in the low back, that's actually a lot of pressure in that, on those L4 or 5, S1 vertebrae. So I want to make sure that when I'm doing this pose, I'm nice and tall and balanced on my sitting bone. And then I'm just gonna rock the baby. And what I'm doing is I'm getting a little bit of mobility into that hip joint, right into that ball and socket there. And this is a great prep, right? This is a great prep also for like your flying pigeon, your Ekapada Galavasana pose. And then you can take that and start to work your right shoulder under your right knee. So again, this pose gets a lot easier the more you can, the higher up you can get it. Now I can't get it up that high right now. I've got a torn hamstring, right? So but I can still do this pose. Even if it were down here around my elbow, I could still do this pose. The higher up, a little bit more forgiving. And then we can start working that strength. So once you've got that right knee right around your right shoulder, you're gonna squeeze it in so that even when you let go of your foot, it's gonna stay there, right? You're gonna lean forward, bring both hands next to your hips, and we'll come up into our elephant pose. This is a great way to work that core for this pose, so you can hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower it down. So when you're first learning how to do this pose, you'll want to probably stay seated, right? Grab your hands, hook it from here, and maybe all you do, first couple of times you do it, is lean forward. Maybe you can just pick up your booty a little bit, hold it here, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, lower it down. Okay? Eventually, you're going to want to pick it up and from here hook it. Yeah? I'm a fan of hooking it on top. You can do it both ways. I know that lots of people who like to then take it behind you find that it's easier if you start with it hooked on the bottom, for sure. And we can do that transition sometime also. But when you're first just trying to get this pose, by hooking it on top, it's a little bit easier to keep it as you go out. So the next stop, once you have your ankles hooked and you pick up your booty, then you're gonna wanna start to straighten your legs. And this is where the warning comes in. And I think not warning, but to mentally prepare yourself, because I think where students, they get thrown off is that they're not expecting the swing out to the right that happens. And of course, the more flexible you are, the less of a swing out it is, right? Because if your right leg is over that right shoulder, your legs are gonna end up going at more of a diagonal as opposed to straight out. But I'll show you what I mean. So I've got my knee hooked. I got my left foot hooked over my right ankle. I'm gonna pick it up, and then I'm gonna start to straighten my legs and they go out to the side. Then I can lean my heart forward and look out to the left. Yeah? It's that easy. Try it. Maybe just stay with the picking up your hips up off of the mat. Maybe just do some elephants. Maybe just rocking the cradle, right? Just remember that all of these pieces, they're cumulative. So don't worry so much about the end result of the pose. Work the pieces and eventually that one happens. So have fun, keep flying. Always take requests. Have a great day.